Each team scoring on its opening drive. 69 yards, 9 plays. Jackson a 4-yard run for the score, and we're tied at 7. Lowry to kick it off. Nichols and Hall are deep. This one will go to the rookie Nichols at the 7. And he gets to the 24-yard line where the Lions will put it in play. The tackle made by Curtis Bledsoe of the Chiefs.
Curtis Bledsoe, an excellent special teamer, backup running back. Certainly one of their favorites when it comes to putting him into the pattern on the kickoff team, punt team. Watch him right there. Comes down, bounces off one block, gets right there to get a piece of that tackle. Good special teams play. Kansas City doing a good job of coverage throughout the year.
6:26 left in the first quarter. Quick hitter. And a good gain out to the 32-yard line for Dexter Bussey, the 8-year veteran from Texas Arlington.
Dick, one of the things we can look for today, since these two teams do have such potent running attacks, is the use of the play-action pass. Very, very tough for the defensive linemen to read pass when they have to respect the running ability of backs like Delaney and Sims. So these quarterbacks will use that to buy a little extra time for them to get the ball downfield.
After Mike Bell closed off the outside, Peterson from UCLA made the stop, and the Lions will look at 3rd and 2. Chiefs have been able to corral the big rushers in the last season and a half, as you saw from that statement, and they're trying to do that to Sims today. That was a -1 for Sims. Bussey up the middle for a first down at the 35-yard line. Gary Spaney from Kansas State made the tackle. Merlin Olsen commented about these two teams. You have running teams, and they like to block you off that line of scrimmage, that it'd be a physical game. And the sounds already have underlined that statement, Merlin. Let's give it a listen this time, see if we can hear the pops.
Excellent speed. They say they clock him down around 4.4, and for a man of his size, 6'1", 212 pounds, doesn't look to be that fast, but certainly the kind of player that you love to have if you're a quarterback and you want to get him downfield. Harris did a fine job. He'd been victimized earlier on that same kind of play down the sideline, called for a play that set up the touchdown, there to knock that one away.
Rick Kane, number 32 from San Jose State, has replaced Sims in the backfield. Kane unable to handle that pass out of the backfield. So it'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Detroit Lions.
Talked to Monty Clark about young Eric Hipple. He said he got his first real baptism against the Chicago Bears, who run about every defense ever created under the sun. And you've got to audible against the Bears or you simply can't play. That Hipple handled himself well, did not have a great day, but was able to stay cool under all that pressure. They knew then that they had a young quarterback that was going to do well.
Rick Kane and Horace King behind Hipple on 3rd and long. Another drop. Horace King could not handle the ball. Could be that Thomas Howard, number 52, got his hand on it, but it appeared to be a Lion completion until Howard interfered.
Great pressure on Hipple by Ken Kramer, number 91. Kramer coming around on a stunt, just buries Hipple. Watch the reach right there. Looks like a little bit of a strip. It's exactly what Howard was able to do. That was a reception until Howard stripped the ball away.
Tom Skladany to punt for Detroit. J.T. Smith back at the 28. He drives it deep, and a fair catch, and a fumble. And who's got it? Number 31, Ken Calicut of the Lions.
You made the comment yesterday when we were watching practice. Ken Calicut has the look of that dedicated special teamer. They're almost like boxers with that kind of concentration. Down there, just flying to the outside. There's the pressure right there. On number 86, it pushed it to the outside. J.T. Harrison. Harrison, dependable receiver. You won't see that very often. Great play by Calicut. Big break for the Detroit Lions.
He's from Clemson. We'll be seeing them in the Orange Bowl on New Year's night, and Calicut gives the Lions the ball at the Kansas City 26. Rick Kane, and he fumbles, and the Chiefs get it right back at the 23-yard line. Don Parrish of Pittsburgh recovered the fumble.
Nose tackle Parrish out there in a real hurry, and well, what a great break for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Lions getting a hold of that football in scoring territory, already in field goal range. Let's see what caused that fumble. It's stripped away again. Just a bone-jarring tackle. Pulled it right away. That's Peterson again. He's made 3 outstanding plays here in the early going, and good pursuit from the inside from Parrish to get on that fumble.
So the Chiefs, after the muff of the punt by J.T. Smith, get it back on the first play. Rick Kane playing for Billy Sims. We understand that Sims has re-injured that what they call the turf toe. A sprained toe does not sound serious, except when you're a runner and you're trying to put that pressure pushing off it. It can be most difficult, and Sims being attended to on the near sidelines.
We may see him later in the game. That's a painful injury, and it really restricts the ability of Sims to cut. In fact, that's how you get it, by cutting on this artificial turf.
Delaney, and he's to the 29-yard line. Good first down run by Delaney of about 6 before English and Cobb could make the tackle for Detroit.
One of the things that has helped Kansas City so far this year is to have their offensive line healthy. But another thing that has helped is the quickness with which Delaney hits the line of scrimmage. When you know that that back is going to be there, will be able to take advantage of even the smallest hole, you get extra incentive as a blocker. And certainly Kansas City's line has had that this year.
Hadnot, and he's close to a first down. Hadnot from Texas Tech. It's an interesting set of backs for Kansas City. Delaney's a rookie. Hadnot's in his second year. He's the old man. Billy Jackson and Curtis Bledsoe, the only other 2 running backs active on the squad, are also rookies.
It's a tribute, I think, to the conditioning of those 2, that there are only 2 backups on this team. That seems a little risky to me. Hadnot, by the way, went over 100 yards last week. He's not just a blocker. He could carry the mail.
Third down and less than a yard. They like to go to Billy Jackson, 43 in this spot, and they do. Going to be close.
They like to put their third tight end, Beckman, number 85, in motion from a flanker position, and normally he'll come all the way across and block. On that occasion, we've never seen him do it before. He turned around at the center position, started back.
Jackson from Alabama, they feel that was really a steal in the draft. Kansas City, they got him in the 7th round. He was Bama's leading rusher as a senior last year, and yet was still available in the 7th round, 5'10" and 223. First down at the 34-yard line. J.T. Smith to the right, and now both receivers go left. Smith and Stan Rome. Tight end Dixon on the right side. Intercepted. position. That leads the active linebackers in the NFL.
There's a man who plays football with his head as well as any in the league, and an inexperienced quarterback who shouldn't have pulled the trigger on that particular play. As you see, White in position to take it away from him, does it with simple ease.
We talked about communications. He is the defensive communicator and a dinosaur in the NFL, and we'll pursue that as we continue.
Looking for good fuel economy? General Motors new cars and trucks offer impressive EPA mileage estimates. And financing from GMAC can go a long way towards helping you get the kind of fuel economy you want today. You see, automotive financing is GMAC's only business. GMAC not only has money available, but at rates that make good sense.
Ask a GM dealer about GMAC, the financing people from General Motors.
Radio Shack makes Christmas dreams come true. Exciting fast-action games with electronic sound effects priced from $7.95 to $79.95. Like the electronic computerized arcade, the sports stadium, two-player baseball, cosmic fireaway, space shot, and more. Your kids can play alone or with a friend. Challenging entertainment for kids 6 to 60. Hours of fascinating fun are waiting for you only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. There's the defensive coordinator, Maxie Bowen. He was a coach on the field talking with Stan White, who indeed is playing that same role for the Lions. And basically, he's about the last one left that really calls the defensive signals. It's tied at 7 here at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, late in the first quarter. 1 minute, 53 seconds left. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, the Lions have just intercepted, had the ball at the 41 of Kansas City. Eric Hipple, man open. Leonard Thompson, and he is to the 34-yard line. We talked about communications. Merlin Olsen, before the telecast today, assumed the role that the scouting coaches upstairs do, and this is where it all begins.
It's early morning, and the area around the Kansas City bench is quiet. Later today, it will be filled with milling football players and coaches. It's extremely difficult to see the game from field level, so the coaches have had to find a way of getting above the action. This is one of the coaching booths, and from here, the coaches of both teams will be connected to the field with headsets. They'll be passing information offensively and defensively to the coaches on the field.
All right, Merlin and Marv Levy, who has his own lineup of communicators, saw Billy Sims pick up a first down at the 29-yard line. Coaches in touch by telephone communication with those assistant coaches in the press box. Leonard Thompson wide right with Freddie Scott slotted right for Detroit. Sims cutting back against the grain to the 26-yard line, and a short gain of 3. Gary Spaney made the tackle, number 59.
They've wrapped Sims' toe. They've gotten him back into the ball game. Although he lost his shoe on that play, he's going to have to tie it back on. Spaney, a fine, aggressive football player. The best of the Kansas City linebackers. Very, very physical. And certainly those linebackers, a great combination of speed, quickness, and strength.
Sims now has 12 yards rushing. Delaney 30 yards in their individual battle in this first quarter. And that first 15-minute period has come to an end. Here at the Silverdome, the site of the Super Bowl. Next January, it's the Detroit Lions 7 and the Chiefs of Kansas City 7.
We wish everybody in Hooks, Texas and all over the country a happy Thanksgiving Day.
Hi, I'm Joe Delaney, number 37, and I'd like to wish everybody in Shreveport, Louisiana, and Hardin, Louisiana, happy Thanksgiving, and also my family in Los Angeles, and I hope you're watching the game today.
Fred, what a lovely piece of furniture.
Giant TV, too.
That's fantastic.
Oh, that's Quasar. Oh.
Hot dog.
That's fantastic.
That's Quasar.
Beautiful stereo tuner, but where is your turntable? Hidden inside. That's fantastic. That's Quasar. Okay.
after another.
All you people in motion, here's a good notion.
The telephone credit card. The easy way to call.
Easier than carrying a whole lot of change. You get a monthly record of your calls.
Apply at your Bell business office for your free card.
Mrs. Wilson. Hi, Mom. It's the newest Mrs. Wilson.
All over the land, call soon as you can.
He's the working man, forging dreams with fire, building, moving mountains, always reaching higher. He's the wheels that move a nation, the stitching in the seams. He holds it all together. He wears Levi's jeans, 'cause he knows we still build the Levi's jeans that helped build America.
Head coach Monty Clark, 44 years of age, in his 4th year from Kingsburg, California. First quarter, 7-7 tie, and the statistics just as even. Second, and a long 7. Billy Sims has some opening. Look at Sims take on the cornerback, Eric Harris, and just ran right over him, and Harris isn't up yet.
Sims says a toe may hurt a little bit, but I'm going to inflict a little pain of my own. Put his helmet down and blasted Eric Harris. Harris, a pretty big defensive corner. But watch the action, and again, you see that little change of pace right there. And the explosion to the outside. Look at that. Great power by the back Sims. 6 foot, 212 pounds, and he'll hit you much bigger than that.
He does run hungry, as they say. First down, Lions. Vince Thompson from Villanova, a rookie, and Dexter Bussey now the running backs.
You saw the coaching box upstairs. Bob Snelker, former Green Bay player, not former Green Bay coach, Los Angeles coach, New York coach, is calling the plays now for Detroit.
This is Thompson, and the rookie gets to the 16-yard line, and maybe a yard gain. Thomas Howard from Texas Tech made the tackle. He was quite a hurdler in high school. In fact, as a senior, had a 13.7 in the 120 highs. That was the best in the nation. And here he is at 6'2", 215 playing in the NFL. So he's big and he can run. Billy Sims back in for the Lions. Early in the second quarter, the game is tied at 7. Nichols was wide open, but Hipple under pressure couldn't get it to him.
Hipple having time to throw that football, simply didn't get it on target. He'll relive that play a number of times later tonight. Chance for you to watch pure drop back, no play action fake, gets time to throw the football. A little bit nervous in the pocket that time. Nichols wide open. They're coming under the zone defense there. And that should have been a completion, Dick.
Third down, and just over 10 yards to go for the first down. Lions have been successful thus far on third down. Good protection. And Gary Barbaro with a brilliant defensive play to knock it away from David Hill. Barbaro from Nicholls State of Louisiana makes an all-pro play.
Hill, certainly a favorite receiver in this tough territory. A big target, but Gary Barbaro read the play beautifully. Howard, the linebacker, there along with him. Eric Hipple did have time to throw that football, and without the great coverage from the secondary and a beautiful play by Barbaro, that would have been a completion.
He looked like a basketball player blocking a layup attempt the way he knocked that away.
It's all timing, Dick, and that's about as well as you can do it.
35-yard attempt by Murray. Hipple the hole. And the Lions are back in front. 34 yards officially, and the Detroit Lions take the lead 10-7.
Behind every Schlitz is a man who knows his beer.
The people in St. Louis know their beer, but as a master brewer,
Schlitzer.
Thank you. I know one taste of my Schlitz can change a lot of minds, and now more people know.
I like Schlitz better than Bud.
I'm a Miller drinker, but you have to taste Schlitz to believe it.
Mr. Sillinger, your Schlitz tastes good. It's a good tasting beer.
Here's to it.
Behind every Schlitz is a man who knows his beer.
Can an American driving machine outdistance every Datsun on the highway? If we put a gallon of gas in every Datsun, and in the 1982 Dodge Omni Miser, one by one, every Datsun would run out. But Omni Miser would keep driving with the best highway mileage of any 5-passenger American car and the lowest price. At $54.99, the base model 82 Dodge Omni Miser doesn't cost $1 more this year than the end of last year. And on other select new Dodge cars and trucks, get $300 to $1,000 cash. See participating dealers for complete details.
Skating superstars Ty Babylonia and Randy Gardner, Robin Cousins, Peggy Fleming, and Dorothy Hamill compete in an encore performance of the World Pro Figure Skating Championship. Then light up with excitement in NHRA drag racing next Saturday on NBC Sports World.
Much at stake today here in the Silverdome. The Chiefs deep to return. James Murphy. As Eddie Murray of the Lions will kick it off. It's 10-7 Detroit early in the second quarter. Short. Deron Cherry at the 20. Breaks a couple of tackles. And finally out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Good return by the rookie, Deron Cherry from Rutgers. Marv Levy, the coach. You ever wonder what happens in the huddle? Well, in this communications process, it goes from Murray to the quarterback, Bill Kenny. Here are his comments.
When I look over at Coach Ross and get a signal from the sideline, I'll then go into the huddle. I will call a formation and any shifting by my backs or receivers. I will then call the play and the blocking scheme and then the snap count.
You can see him look at that defense, and then he's going to call in the audible if that's necessary, or the blocking call. And gives to Delaney. Oh, he's tough to bring down. A gain of 5 before Purifoy and Cobb can wrestle him down. Joe Delaney, 5'10", a compact 184 pounds. He broke Sidney Thornton's records at Northwestern Louisiana. Thornton, of course, the outstanding running back with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
When you heard Kenny talking about his huddle and what is said there, very important that that be done quickly. You've only got 30 seconds to get the play off. You've got to take the signal from the sideline, let everyone know what they have to do and when they have to do it, and then move to the line of scrimmage.
And Smith in motion. And Hadnot, the fullback, to the 41-yard line. And the Lions say he fumbles, but no signal from the officials. William Gay, Stan White made the tackle.
You saw Stan White. We featured him on our pregame show. Now you get a chance to watch him in action. Excellent quick read, ducks up into the opening, and makes a good tackle. Stan White actually has lost a little of his quickness, but when you play with as much savvy, you're able to anticipate the moves of the offense, and you're almost there ahead of them. I think they may have lost their communications with the upstairs, which means that they're going to have to take the headsets off the coaches on the other side, too. And we talked to you about the communications that go upstairs to the coaches in the box. Now watch, they'll go across and they'll tell the coaches on the other side, because it's an NFL rule. If communications go out on one side of the field, they must automatically take the headsets off on the other side of the field. And you saw it very quickly. Levy said, wait a minute, stop this game. If we can't talk to our upstairs people, neither can the Detroit Lions. Very important, Dick, to remember that with the confusion and all of the players on the sideline and on the field, difficult to see what's happening. That's why they move coaches upstairs. That's why they'll call offensive and defensive formations from upstairs.
Now, football is not unlike baseball. You talk to any baseball manager, and he'll tell you that he has the worst seat in the house in the dugout, and so it is on the sidelines in football. All the confusion. It's tough to see what you can see from this angle. This basically, that shot before this one, is the angle that the scouts have as they look down on the play.
Kay Dalton is the man that's calling the plays from upstairs for the Kansas City Chiefs. Actually, in a normal situation, sends him down to Bobby Ross, and Bobby Ross will be the man that signals him into Kenny. But right now, they've flipped the lines. There they are, sitting with some dead headsets upstairs.
Of course, for either team, the offense needs that information more than the defense. It's 3rd down and 3. Intended for Smith, incomplete, but it was Stan White who hit Kenny and forced the pass to flop a bit.
Nick not only hit him, but forced a very bad pass that came dangerously close to being intercepted. The blitz coming from Stan White, again anticipating well, got the count and zipped to the inside, and Kansas City's going to have to kick it away. There's the pattern right there. Now watch how close that was to being intercepted. Thrown on the inside of the receiver. J.T. Smith had to turn back around, unable to get his hands on it.
Robbie Martin deep. Jeff Gossett to kick. Martin at the 20. And down at the 25 with a good open field tackle by Charles Jackson, number 51 from the University of Washington. Timeout. The Lions lead the Chiefs 10-7. 11 minutes left, first half.
This is no way to treat a personal luxury car, but this is no ordinary personal luxury car. This is the new Dodge 400. The cockpit says personal luxury, but here's the difference. Front-wheel drive, rack and pinion steering, McPherson struts, electronically controlled engine, and another extraordinary difference, extraordinary mileage. Dodge 400 is no ordinary personal luxury car.
It's a personal driving machine.
Dodge 400, America's personal driving machine.
Big parties, little parties, those very special parties, they always sparkle with Canada Dry. That very special Canada Dry sparkle. Always light, always crisp, and very, very refreshing. Canada Dry Club Soda, tonic water, and ginger ale. They make your parties sparkle. You sparkle. Make your holidays sparkle with Canada Dry.
Outcomes have been incredible. Next Sunday, don't miss a dynamite doubleheader as the road to the playoffs continues on NBC Sports.
Are they putting him on? Maxey's putting... No, he's got it off still. In fact, you can see Maxey with his in his hand or on his belt. Snelker calls the play. Okay. All right, well, just show the coaches then. What do you want to do something? Show the Detroit coaches. They've taken theirs off now. Okay. And this
Lions assistant coaches, Snelker, Seifel, Dahl, Phillips, and there's the Kansas City booth. And Kansas City, apparently the telephone communication now back intact. Who was it that played Alexander Graham Bell in the movies? Don Amici? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Don Amici. But you notice they made the Detroit coaches take their headsets off. Now it appears that Kansas City has their sound equipment working. They'll allow Detroit to assume communications with the booth too.
Lions lead 10-7. Here comes Sims to the 34-yard line and very close to a first down.
Just by way of feeling the tempo of this game, Dick, looking back at the 2 turnovers that gave Detroit field position and only able to get 3 points out of that. That may be costly before this game is over.
Sims showing a noticeable limp as he comes to the sidelines. There are his numbers. In only 10 games this year, he missed 2 with that bad toe, and it's bothering him today. 31 yards total thus far for Sims. enough for the first down at the 36-yard line. Gary Spaney, Cal Peterson, Dino Mangieri in on the tackle. Mangieri, number 74 in the lineup at the moment.
Number 99, Mike Bell. What a specimen he is. Certainly one of the most physical pass rushers that we've had a chance to see in a long time.
Can you imagine what kind of defensive play that must have been for Colorado State? They had Bubba Baker at one side and Mike Bell at the other.
I hate to tell you, they didn't have a very good record in those days either. They must have done a lot better here than they did when they were in college.
Sims back in. Short yardage on first down. Thus far in the early returns, the Kansas City running game has had a little more explosiveness than the Lions, but the Lions lead on the board at 10-7 with 10 minutes left in the first half. Gary Danielson has been activated for the game. He's been out with that bad wrist, a broken wrist, since the Oakland game early in the year. Activated today.
You might wonder why he would have to be deactivated, even though that's his left hand. Doesn't throw with his left hand, but you got to take that snap with that left hand.
Good yardage by Horace King. Or was that Sims? That was Sims. Sims shooting through for a considerable gain before Lindstrom and Howard can make the stop.
Dick, you got to be flexible. Bob Snelker, who's the offensive coordinator for Detroit, has now gone onto the sideline because he could not communicate with Monty Clark. Oh my, what a spaghetti.
You know, we're going to be blamed for this, honestly. We wanted to just talk about communications, not the failure thereof.
But Snelker has gone down to the sideline. He's standing right next to Monty Clark to help call the plays on the sideline.
Horace King now in the backfield. Here comes Sims. In a passing down, the Lions try to cross up the Chiefs with a run and are short by 2 yards. It'll be 4th and 2. Whitney Paul made the tackle. He's from Colorado.
Paul, a converted defensive lineman, lifted up to a linebacker, and now occasionally will go back into that defensive line position. You see Hipple coming off. Now this is another part of communication. Coming off to be debriefed by the coaches on the sideline. Talk about what they did wrong, what they did right.
J.T. Smith at the 16-yard line. 10 men on the line of scrimmage. Smith, who muffed the last punt, had a little trouble finding the handle on that one. It'll be first down, Kansas City at the Chiefs' 13-yard line. 43-yard punt, no return by Skladany, who leads the entire NFL in net punting yardage. A good one by Skladany.
Thanksgiving to the Hunter family in Silsbee, Texas.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Bell, number 99. I'd like to wish all my family back in Wichita a happy Thanksgiving. I'd like to also wish Joe Norman a speedy recovery from his knee injury last week.
Now there's a place where they have their own authorized mechanics, quality parts and service, and prices you can afford. Now there's K-Care, found only at Kmart.
When you can get a brake job, both front disc and rear drum, for less than some places charge just for discs, that's a value. Well, that's what the K-Care Brake Special is all about. For only $88, we'll do a front and rear brake job using Ray Bessis Manhattan quality parts. At that price, why do it yourself? That's K-Care, only at Kmart.
Behind every Schlitz is a man who knows his beer.
Down here in Texas, people know a good beer, and many choose the taste of my Schlitz. Just one glass will tell a lot of beer drinkers what I've known all along. You just can't buy a better tasting beer than Schlitz.
What do I really think? I think Schlitz tastes better than Miller. Schlitz tastes really smooth. Mr. Sillinger, your Schlitz tastes good. It really does.
I'm glad you like it.
Behind every Schlitz is a man who knows his beer.
Sophisticated racing machines burn up the track at breakneck speeds of over 200 miles per hour. Don't miss the quickest quarter mile ever in NHRA drag racing. Then, a special encore performance of the World Pro Figure Skating Championship next Saturday on NBC Sports World.
Midway through the second quarter, the Lions 10, Kansas City 7. There's Stan White, the defensive coach on the field. And after this play, we'll have White give us some insight into what happens in the defensive huddle and on the line of scrimmage. First down, Kansas City at the Chiefs 13. Delaney, a gain of only 1.
Dan White, not only a smart football player, but very capable in calling the defenses.
When I step in the huddle, the first thing I have to do is call the alignment for the defensive line. We usually get into what we call an under front for our running situations, or we can go into what we call our pass rushing front, and I give them what we call a blue call. Then I go into the coverages that we are going to use. A lot of times we use a zone coverage in first down situations and second and short situations, or I call into a man-to-man defense that we use in our passing situations. Or we can also make special adjustments according to how the game's going. We may want to call a blitz, what we call a dog at times. We may want to go into our nickel situations where we're bringing 6 or 5 defensive backs. And we have several different adjustments we can make throughout the game according to what they've been doing or what they've been successful with against us.
Oh, it's easy.
I asked him, I said, how many defensive audibles do you have? He said, at last count, over 160 that can be called on the field. And he said, there are more now.
Billy Jackson at 223, and someone really threw a shoulder into the ball carrier to stop him that cold. It'll be very close to a first down. An added note on Stan White, number 52, to be able to remember all that and react so quickly, obviously you need certain cerebral capacity, and he was in his top 3 or 4 in law school. He's already a practicing lawyer, so White indeed is a genius on the field.
The other thing he does, and it's typical of the preparation that Maxie Vaughn, his defensive coordinator, insists on. If you ask him, you put Kansas City anywhere on the field, he can tell you what plays they like to run out of from there, what their tendencies are out of different formations. He's had more time with a projector than just about anyone else in the league.
Well, he had him in the right defense on that play, and the Chiefs are short by inches. Now, you talk about brain power. That man who you just saw, Marv Levy, you don't want to take a test with him either.
Certainly not. Interesting thing about both Levy and Monty Clark, 2 coaches highly respected by their players. They're coaches who will communicate eye to eye with their players, and that's something that I always appreciated and respected in a coach.
You didn't want to hear from somebody else.
No, wanted it from the man himself. And Levy's got a touchy problem with his quarterbacks. We can talk about that a little bit later, but he's willing to talk to them and about it fairly and honestly.
Robbie Martin at the 35. Gossett. Nice spinning spiral. Martin to the 40 and into the Lion bench. Timeout, exactly 6 minutes remaining in the first half here at the Silverdome. It's the Lions 10 and the Chiefs 7.
There's only one car rental company in the world, big enough and good enough to be #1 for everyone. Hertz.
Who else guarantees your final rental charges in advance, like this?
And lets you go right from your plane to your car without stopping at the rental counter.
And they never charge for mileage, no matter where you rent the car or where you return it.
Whatever you need in a car rental company, there's still only one company you'll ever need.
Dear Atari Anonymous, ever since we got Atari video games, our next-door neighbors have moved in. They'd rather play Atari Air Sea Battle than go home. They'd rather play Atari Missile Command than go home. With games so ingenious, so involving, so intense. I ask you, Atari Anonymous, how far does this good neighbor policy go, huh?
This Sunday, It's week 13 in the NFL, and the playoff races are on. Brian Gumbel will have all the highlight scores, late-breaking news from all the games, NFL 81. Then regional football action continues, featuring AFC Central leading Bengals against the Browns, a game for Ohio bragging rights. And Denver travels to San Diego to play for the AFC West lead. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Another big Sunday coming up on NBC Sports. Lions lead 10-7. First down at the Detroit 40. Eric Hipple on a screen to Bussey. Dexter Bussey nearly 10 yards as he stopped at midfield by the red and gold of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Chiefs getting a little heat on Eric Hipple earlier, and one way to neutralize that kind of pressure is to run the screen pass. Let those big defensive linemen through and then dump it out. Dexter Bussey, a fine running back in his own right. Good job of play acting by Hipple, who must make it look like a pass, and then some good blocking on the outside. Amos Fowler, 65, although he was literally hurdled by the defensive player, making enough room for Bussey to get by, getting down very close to that first down.
It's just short, so the Lions have a down with which to play. Hipple is 4 for 9, 1 touchdown. One of the NFL assigned officials on the sidelines communicating with a referee about what we do not know, but we're going to find out.
He's just telling them that the sound systems are go and the coaches can put on their headsets.
Quick hitter, and Bussey has 11 more yards. First down at the 40. Dexter Bussey, who broke Aldi Taylor's record earlier this year, he's the all-time Detroit Lion rusher.
This is the kind of thing that can happen in short yardage. It looked like Kansas City was guessing that the play was going to be outside. All of their people stretching to the outside, and they're hit up inside by Dexter Bussey for a big gainer inside Kansas City territory.
Good coverage by 44 Eric Harris, and Hipple wisely threw that one awry because Harris had a touchdown the other way if Hipple had thrown that one on the mark.
We talk about young quarterbacks. Hipple just getting his feet wet as an NFL quarterback, but knew enough to zip that one over the top. Or if he didn't know enough, he did it accidentally, and certainly that was the right thing to do.
You made an interesting comment yesterday about Hipple. You get a young quarterback such as Hipple, and usually they'll play well for a couple of games, but almost invariably they'll have a little dip, a little decline. Hipple has been surprising to you.
Certainly has. To be able to keep his cool and maintain his collective calm during this very pressurized period of time.
Nearly an outstanding catch in a crowd by the Lions. Eric Harris was there, and Billy Sims almost pulled it down.
Thompson coming from the sideline with the play. We told you Bob Snelker is still on the sideline. That's going to be tough for him. He's used to watching the game from up here. You can't see as much down on the field, but he's right there calling the plays on the sideline for Eric Hipple. Both these quarterbacks, because of their inexperience and because of the coaching preference, taking their plays from the sideline. His body to shield Gary Green, number 24, away from the football. Green has perfect position. Timed it well, but did not dare bump into Scott before that ball arrived and simply athlete could not get up to knock it away.
What concentration by Scott, because he was being shielded, being badgered by the defender, and at the last minute, boom, just speared it behind Green. Murray gets the extra point.
Eric Hipple reduced the panic on that play, zipped up into the pocket, and got that pass right off on target.
Amazing young athlete from Utah State. He goes to Amherst, Freddie Scott, and 7 more for Detroit.
For the special times, for the happy times, for what's been, for what will be, for all the years and all the tears, for what you mean to me, for all you give me, a diamond, and forever I give to you.
Don't you have more than Christmas to celebrate? Give her a diamond.
Now, savings certificates direct from Chrysler make it easier to own a Mitsubishi-built import. Save $500 on a new 81 Colt or Champ. On a new 82, save $300. Save $500 on a new 81 Challenger or Sapporo. On a new 82, save $300. Save $500 on any new 81 or 82 Ram 50 or Arrow pickup. Now you can own a quality-built, high-mileage Mitsubishi import and save up to $500 at participating Dodge and Plymouth dealers.
There are a lot of cops on the road.
Only one Poncherello. That's right, baby.
And Sunday, the race is on to save a teenager who's stolen money from the mob on chips.
Freddie Scott, happy young man, his 4th touchdown of the year. A minute and a half, and the Lions now are in front 17-7. Eddie Murray to kick it off. There's Eric Hipple. Oh, what a job he's doing. He's playing like a 10-year veteran.
That's all that good training at Utah State, Jack.
We'll talk about that later. James Murphy and Jaron Cherry, and they'll watch it go out of bounds in a 5-yard penalty against the Lions. Murray, illegal procedure.
There's a young Utah State quarterback on the other side of the field, Bob Galliano. You see him there. He's in exactly the same position that Eric Hipple was in a couple of years ago. And we asked Eric Hipple a question about him, and we'll give you that tape a little later. But that young man finished his collegiate season, the collegiate season at Utah State. There's the other Utah State quarterback on the field, and he has done a great job coming in to direct an attack.
Well, let's just review Hipple's history a minute while they mark off the illegal procedure, the 5-yard penalty. Hipple was drafted in the 4th round last year by the Lions out of Utah State. He did not throw a pass all last year. And then this year, with the injury to Gary Danielson, they put in Jeff Comlow, the backup quarterback. And finally, Comlow, after a couple of games, relieved by Hipple. And Hipple took over as if everyone's saying, where's he been all this time?
You know who his backup quarterback was at Utah State, Dick?
Terry Bradshaw's brother?
Craig Bradshaw.
Yeah. They produced some throwers out there, the UTAC. How did you ever get into school? Finally corralled by Murphy. And he's out of bounds at the 29-yard line. And guess where James Murphy is from?
We asked Eric Hipple what advice he'd give to Bob Galliano. This is what he had to say to us.
Well, I just tell them to hang in there, not get discouraged, because it's a crazy game, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
Boils it down, doesn't it?
He didn't waste any words doing it, did he?
It's interesting. Suddenly, Utah State with all those quarterbacks. In your day, it was known as Tackle University. Little screen to Smith. Out to the 43-yard line before Gary Cobb can make the tackle. First down, Kansas City. 14-yard gain for the 4-year star from North Texas State, J.T. Smith.
That's one of the favorite plays of this Kansas City offense. And again, that's to take the pressure off of the quarterback. The Detroit Lions have 37 sacks on the year, and you need to run some screens and some draws to keep those defensive linemen occupied.
have their first sack of the game. Dave Purifoy and Bubba Baker with a Bill Kenny sandwich. Lions are tied with Dallas for the NFC lead with 1. Of course, the Jets lead all of the NFL with 49 with that New York sack exchange. And Oakland and Detroit and Dallas tied for the NFC lead.
Bill Kenny is a big quarterback, but even Big Kenny is not able to stand up to the rush of those two defensive ends, and they put it to him.
2nd and 21. Delaney to the 41-yard line. You could just see the talent, and when we go back to your comment as a defender, just getting ill to your stomach thinking about the talent of a runner like that, that was the case in point.
Just a quick story. When Sayers was in his prime for Chicago, Dick, he came out to play in the Pro Bowl in Los Angeles, and I was playing on the same team with him in practice. They'd give him the ball, and I'd get nauseated watching him even when we were in practice.
He was one of the real ballet dancers with great talent in the open field. City has to bring on the punting team as English, the oil man, gets Kenny.
Kenny a little bit nervous there, and one of the advantages that Hipple has over Kennedy is speed. Over Kenny is speed. You see there, just does not have enough speed to get outside of that rush. Pulled down by Big Doug English.
At the 2-minute warning, Lions 17, Chiefs 7.